All right, Bert, thank you. Great to have you with us here on the post-game show. Nets winning it big, 143-113. If this were a horse race, Brooklyn Nets, the horse to bet on. Wire-to-wire win, including 91 first-half points.
Think of that Golden State coming to New York last night at Madison Square Garden. Wire-to-wire loss tonight. Wire-to-wire loss against the Brooklyn Nets, who played really well. I can't get wrapped up in the second half. I give Golden State credit. They did cut it to 18. Then the Nets obviously made shots, and the lead ballooned again. But that first half was outstanding by them. They took advantage of a team that's undermanned. No Steph Curry, obviously no Andrew Wiggins, no Klay Thompson. The Nets were moving the ball. They were knocking down shots. The 91 points in the first half is off the charts. Here's one other thing, another positive. Kevin Durant played 29 minutes and 6 seconds. That is a season-low minutes for Kevin Durant.
That is good for them. And Kyrie played triple zeros because he didn't play with that right calf tightness. We talked about who would pick up the slack. There were a lot of guys, as you would find out, because 12 scores in this game for the Nets. 9 would hit double figures early on. Royce Simmons with the ball in his hands. He was sharp shooting early.
You know, so Royce O'Neal early on, knocking down threes. The Nets' first 8 baskets came on 8 assists.
Simmons gets it to Kevin Durant. He's got guys in his face. He's just been feeling it lately.
Yeah, you can't stop him, and they don't have the type of defenders out there that can guard Kevin Durant. But it was really more than just Durant. There you get Ben Simmons, the bounce pass to Nick Claxton with a dunk. Everything working for the Brooklyn Nets. 46 points in that first quarter.
Edmund Sumner drives baseline. Good little move between 2 white jerseys there. Most points they've scored in a quarter this season, those 46 in the first quarter. And you talked about it. Early out of the gate, get it going, but they kept that going in the second quarter.
And that was the thing, too. It wasn't just the starters who were 23 of 27 in that first half. The guys off the bench came in. T.J. Warren was making shots. Yuta Watanabe was getting involved. And here you see Ben Simmons finishing off the lob.
All right, so at that point, it's 68-31. And then Joe Harris, and a guy who's been looking for a stroke all season, been finding it lately, quick catch and shoot, sinks it 73-41. Late in the half, here's KD one more time from just a ridiculous range.
And, you know, what's ridiculous is the range, the shot, and then look what the shot does to the score. Another ridiculous thing. 91-51 at halftime.
Nets keep moving the ball well. Coming out of the locker room, Claxton to Simmons, who slams it home. It's 95-51. Later, KD working on his man, and again, it's just another mismatch.
Yeah, this is a tough shot, and he did get fouled. But with the score 99-66, the referee's not going to call it. You think on the Golden State postgame show they're showing all these highlights as well?
Probably not. Curry on the drive, Patty Mills, and again, Patty Mills getting some minutes.
And Patty Mills had a shot when it got cut to 18 as part of a 10-0 run by the Brooklyn Nets when they needed to make shots. This was the T.J. Warren shot within an 18-point game. And at that time, under 10 minutes to go, if they get to within 15-14, does Jacques Vaughn look at the bench and tell Kevin Durant to get in there? He said Markieff Morris hit a shot. Patty Mills hit a shot, and the T.J. Warren 3 was big as well.
So breaking records tonight, the 143 points for the Nets, a season high, 91 in the first half, third most in NBA history and tops in their franchise history. A 40-point lead at the half, largest in Nets NBA history. 29-point lead after one quarter, largest in Nets NBA history. And 9 players in double figures ties the franchise record. They have won 7 straight. They've won 14 of 17. And I think in tonight's game we saw what is the reason for that? Like every element of that, we saw that in tonight's game.
You're 100% right. Ball movement, making shots, guys being unselfish. It's a great way to go into that big game on Friday against the Milwaukee Bucks, which has been a nemesis of this team. Hopefully you get Kyrie Irving back. You're getting Kevin Durant rested. Only had to play 29 minutes tonight. Got everyone else involved. I think for Jacques Vaughn, the next 24 to 48 hours will be big because he wants to get them back in the gym tomorrow. Watch a lot of film because the intensity level from the Milwaukee Bucks will be a lot more intense Friday night than you got from the Golden State Warriors. A little bit different quality of opponent.
And I just want to underscore what you said about the getting out of the gate quickly, because they didn't do that their last 2 games against Toronto and Detroit. They really had to fight and battle back, and KD spent a lot of time on the court.
Yeah, so against Detroit, they're down 19. Against Toronto, they're down 18 on the road. And give the Brooklyn Nets credit for showing a lot of fight, and then you have 2 closers like Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. But again, That's not a recipe for success. You can't keep doing that. And I think Jock Vaughn wanted to see a little maturity out of his team. You're playing, again, an undermanned team with a lot of inexperienced players on that court. Take it to them, and the Brooklyn Nets did exactly that. Second night of a back-to-back for the Golden State Warriors. They just didn't have it from start to finish. It was a good win for the Brooklyn Nets. You get out of here with a win. You extend the winning streak, and you get ready for Friday night, the big one.
All right, so Katie in the last game, 26 in the third quarter alone. Tonight, 23 on the entire score sheet. But again, a huge impact for Kevin Durant in this one. And you brought this up, that he's always going to have more than one defensive guy on him. Now, right there was one, but a big hand in his face. But you constantly see him moving in on guys, and there's a ton of traffic, and he hits these sort of off-balance shots all the time.
And if you have Andrew Wiggins out there, you have Klay Thompson, especially Klay Thompson, who played with Kevin Durant, they're going to have a little bit better understanding. You got Draymond Green out there trying to barking orders to his teammates, but they're not ready to defend Kevin Durant at any kind of level. And Kevin Durant knew on a night like tonight, he didn't need 30 points. He didn't need 35 points. Didn't even need to play the fourth quarter. He still got his numbers, but it wasn't really about, I'm going to dominate this undermanned team. I'll get other guys involved. That's what was so good to see. And the assist number for the Brooklyn Nets, over 40 tonight, is so good. Yes, that comes down to shot making, but again, it's guys making the extra pass, and that all starts with Kevin Durant. Your team is going to take on the personality of your best player. Kevin Durant's your best player. He's unselfish, and that trickles down to everyone on the roster.
And to your point, the most important number for Katie on the stat sheet, not 23 points, 29 minutes on the court. That bodes big for that Milwaukee game coming up Friday.
The previous low for him was 30 minutes, 39 seconds. That was that Sacramento game where the Nets were blown out. They were on the other side of a blowout. That was all the way back on November 15th. And remember, Kevin Durant's minutes has become a big deal. So on a night like tonight where he only has to play 29, I think that's good. Jock Vaughn will be happy about a lot of things tonight. Maybe he'll use the second half as a way to kind of tweak the team tomorrow during a film session, but he's going to be really happy with a lot of things that happen. Of course, the biggest thing, keeping the winning streak going. Now it's 7 games.
All right, Jock Vaughn coming up next. Stick around on the postgame. We will hear from the head coach. We'll have more player reaction as well. And then, of course, a big night around the NBA on a night in which the Nets score 143 points and win it at Barclays Center. We're back on the postgame with your keys to the game, brought to you by your local Kia dealers. What keys? It's a ring full of keys. Everything on the right side. I mean, Frank, 21 threes, 64% shooting. The assists off the charts.
Hey, you're right. It's everything there was a key. The 42 assists is a great number. I'll give you a defensive number. If the Warriors were going to have any chance to win this game, Jordan Poole was going to have to go off. He was 4 of 17, 1 for 11 on threes, and had just 13 points. And he was a team worst, minus 31.
Just everything went against the Warriors tonight. Let's hear from Jock Vaughn about the big win.
Jock, I'm not sure if you have time to talk about all the positives in this game, but what stood out to you, the way you guys were able to play and the focus that you guys were off the jump?
Yeah, I think two things. I think we use the word professionalism and being mature to play the game tonight. I think that was the first piece of it. Our approach was pretty good, especially the first quarter, after the last 2 games, and then the 42 assists. Being able to spray the ball around, share that thing, play for each other, find each other early, really carried us through the rest of the game.
Did you know that the 91 points was a franchise record for this group in the first half?
I did not. Wow. Wow. Nicely done, huh? That's what happens when you come to work and you're ready to work from the beginning.
I had a joke to make, but Megan took it away. Jacques, given that you had to come back from nearly 20 down, the last 2 games, I mean, do you look at this as progress, given, as you said, the foot stayed on the gas pedal, 3.5 quarters, and you're able to rest the guys?
Yeah, definitely. I consider it progress because it was definitely the message through our walkthrough, how focused we were going to be, concentrated on this effort, no matter who was playing for them. And games like these can definitely go either way. People counted us out at the Indiana, and look what happened. So your approach to those games, no matter who's playing, is huge. And I thought our focus was good.
And then Kyrie obviously was a late scratch. I mean, do you have any update on him and if he's going to be available for Friday?
No update on you. He'll come in tomorrow, get assessed again, but hopefully looking forward to him playing on Friday.
Coach, I think I remember the play. First quarter, you guys are up 8-2. I think Draymond gets to the rim, dumps it off to Looney. Easy dunk, uncontested, timeout. What did you say? Because right after that, you guys went on a run, finished the quarter 46-17, something like that.
Yeah, again, Christian, we're going to use those opportunities to teach and also make sure that we're on the same page. We got a chance. We all looked at the iPad together to see whether a mistake happened. And just because our game plan, we didn't want to give up layups that way. And so being locked in, a little reminding for the group, and we were able to reassess and keep it moving, which was good.
And second, I mean, just how many players do you have in double figures? I believe 9. Just what does that say about the ball movement?
Yeah, it says a lot. I think that we have a lot of people who can score the basketball. You take even Patty, the minutes that he played and his ability to impact the game at the end. So overall, I think guys enjoy when you can look at the stat sheet and get minutes for everyone and points for everyone, and you win. 42 assists, pretty impressive.
Jacques, just a smidge, but a season high in minutes for T.J. Warrington. I mean, do you think he's ready to kind of get a bump or maybe make that a regular thing instead of, kind of fluctuating between maybe the low end of, 15 and the high ends of tonight?
Yeah, I think overall we just the goal is to have him healthy at the end of the year. And do I envision him playing 35 minutes? No. So I'll say that. I think we have enough depth on this team that he doesn't need to do that. Do we want to continue to increase him that he's playing, in that range where he was tonight over consecutive days and building up his legs and strength to play in games? Yes, and to play back-to-backs going forward, yes. So there's a goal in sight, but we don't need to play TJ 35 minutes.
And he had, I think it was 7 or 8 tonight in the fourth, just when Kevin was on the bench. I mean, was that kind of a microcosm of ideally what he's doing and that he's relieving some of the starters and that offensive burden when they're out of the game for you? Yeah,
it's a little bit of both. My conversation with him actually today after shoot-around of trying to find what unit, suits him and his game. It's interesting tonight without Kai, so that changes the rotations a little bit. But we've done both where he plays with Kevin, so he got those minutes that we still want to have because he can space the floor and score. But then he started the second quarter for us, which he hadn't done before. So getting him in the mix with Ben to push the pace, we're still trying to find the sweet spot for him. Yeah, go ahead, Alex. You got a third one. Go ahead. Bang, bang, bang. Let's go. Let's go, Alex.
I'm carrying this.
Tell you didn't make the Toronto trip, so.
That was not my fault. Not in your next 15, I think, are against, playoff caliber teams. Obviously, you guys have done a good job of, beating up on the lower standing teams. I guess just what do you make of this next stretch, given the amount of competition coming through?
Yeah, you take care of business. Whatever day's game presents itself, you take care of business. We get an opportunity to play against Milwaukee on Friday. That gives us a good chance to see if we can have the same focus tonight against a very good team. So I'm not going to look too far down the line. Friday's the next game. We'll try to take care of business on Friday.
Jarrell and then Christian. You good?
Kind of following up on that, I mean, Giannis, the way he's playing, I don't think we're going to talk to you until pretty much right before the game. Just how do you even start to game plan for a guy who plays with that much force, and then just the way they play in Milwaukee just being such a well-oiled engine on both sides?
Yeah, well-oiled engine, well-coached, high-level team. Great challenge for us to, play every possession, or else you pay for it. Guys that can make shots, they spread you with the 3-ball. Even Brooke, shoots it from above the break and in the corner. So you have some decisions to make. How much attention you're going to give to Giannis to keep him away from the rim, the easy baskets that he gets in transition, bodies that have to be in front of him. Good thing we have some depth, like we talked about, that we can use, multiple bodies that we can put on them, and we'll try to make them react to us as well. We have enough shooting to make them react. They play a certain style of basketball, and they don't go away from it on both ends of the floor. So that part is understandable from our end, but I think we'll be ready to play on Friday.
Coach, the team has played a lot better recently, especially on the defensive end. What has been the key to you and your coaching staff unlocking that potential and getting the team to perform better on that end of the court?
Yeah, it's really our guys understanding how important that end of the floor is. Christian talked about it. We had a timeout early in the game to address it, and it's okay for us to address it, hit it, head on, and let the group know that it's important for us to play defense. You see we can score the basketball at a high level. We just have that ability to do so. But for us to be a good team and make some noise going forward, we have to be a good defensive team.
Thanks, Jake.
All right, guys. You got it. See you guys.
Jacques Vaughn always got that good smile on his face, that positivity, and, I mean, that's going to just come oozing out of your pores when you've won 7 straight.
And you think about where this team was 6 weeks ago. You're wondering where the season was headed. Tonight they win their 20th game. No one in the Western Conference has 20 wins yet. So they beat every team in the Western Conference to 20 wins. There's only 3 teams ahead of them with more wins: Milwaukee, Boston, and Cleveland. And right now the Brooklyn Nets, they're going to play on Friday against Milwaukee. First place Milwaukee, they're only 2.5 games out of first. Only 2 back of Boston, which lost again tonight.
Yeah, they've been burning through the Eastern Conference standings, no doubt. Jacques Vaughn had 9 of his players score in double figures tonight. Ben Simmons was one of those. 10 points. After a break, we will hear from Simmons, so stick around. With our Infinity game summary as Brooklyn beats Golden State 143-113. Last time the Warriors lost consecutive games by 30-plus points was April of 2001. Meantime, the Nets have won 9 of their last 10 at home. They've won 7 straight, with Kevin Durant leading the way tonight, 23 points. Ben Simmons also had 10. Let's hear from Ben.
Ben, off the jump, what stood out to you that allowed you guys to get going the way you guys were able to do?
I think it was our focus coming into the game. I think the last 2 games we came out of the gate kind of slow and not focused, and you know, it was the little things for us that gets us going. So defensively, knowing our matchups, communication, and I think that's really what got us going.
How much fun is it to be out there on the court to see every single guy that played was able to score?
That's what basketball is to me. You know, guys sharing the ball, us getting the best shot we can every time down, and then trusting each other.
And what has Jacques' imprint on this team been since he took over as head coach?
It's many things. I think one of those things is just giving us that freedom, in which I say it comes with responsibility. So, you know, he treats us like professionals and adults, as he should, and we respect that. So, you know, a lot of it is on us to, you know, put in that work and then use that what he's given us on the court.
And second, we're not going to talk to you until after the Milwaukee game. Just what type of challenge is that going to be to deal with a guy like Giannis, who plays with that much force, and a team that plays that fluid on both ends?
We're going to need to be ready. KYP, knowing our personnel, going into that game, and then focused.
Ben, you guys, I think it started off 21 points off turnovers from them. They had nothing. Just what worked so well in the first half defensively, and also you guys being able to take care of the ball like that?
What was the question?
Just you had 21 points off turnovers in the first half. Just what was working so well defensively to kind of...
Just knowing who was on the floor. Obviously, they had some guys out, and then knowing Poole was going to come out aggressive and try and get that team going. You know, he's the engine when, you know, those guys are out. So just staying locked into the ball, attached to bodies, and being physical.
All right, so a couple of things about Ben Simmons. One, he has a big matchup coming up Friday night. The entire team does, but he'll be charged with covering Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, and I thought, you know, they played the games in the preseason, and I thought Ben Simmons did a pretty good job against Giannis. I think you'll see him on Giannis at times because of his size, you know, obviously his strength to try to do something to keep Giannis out of the paint. Giannis had a big game. He had 43 points when the Nets played them back in October. And Giannis tonight is coming off a 45-point game. I get it. It wasn't a loss. So you know he's going to come out with a lot of force. Plus he gets a day off. Friday will be a big-time challenge for Ben Simmons because Ben Simmons today, Giannis is still Giannis. He was Giannis back in October. He's the same player today. Ben Simmons is a much different player today than he was at the start of the season for the Brooklyn Nets.
And he's been playing a couple different positions tonight. At the point, Kyrie was out. How much do you see him kind of filling in some of the blanks right now? Like 10 points tonight, but he also had 8 assists.
And he's still shooting. What I like about Ben Simmons, he understands what his strengths are and his weakness. He's not going to take outside shots. That's not what he's going to do. And when players back off him, he'll drive to the basket. He's looking to pass the ball. He's become much more aggressive around the rim. Again, just a different player than we saw at the beginning of the year. If you want him to be a guy that shoots 20-foot to 25-foot jumpers, he's not going to be that guy, but he still makes a big impact on the game. He looks looks relaxed out there. He's playing much quicker than he played at the start of the season. Guys know that Ben Simmons is going to get you the ball cut. And he does everything well except for shoot outside jumpers. And I think you can live with that.
And Jacques Vaughn still gets assists, but it felt like there were restrictions to his game in the first part of the season. Doesn't seem like there are any, although Jacques would like to see him play back-to-backs.
And, to Ben's credit, whenever he was asked about the way that he was playing, he didn't want to use it as an excuse, but he was reminding everyone, it's not even so much that I haven't played in over a year. I am coming off back surgery. So let me try to get my legs under me a little bit. And a lot of people, I was a little bit cynical, too. I'm thinking, I don't know if he's going to have it, but he's come back and has played really well and has made contributions.
All right, time for another timeout on the Nets post. So as we said, the Nets have now won 7 straight games, 42 assists tonight. I know that kind of skews that bottom number, Frank. And so do the 143 points scored tonight. That skews that top number, but that offense is clicking going into that game against Milwaukee.
And you think about tonight, the points that they put up, and Kyrie Irving's not even playing.
Yeah.
And you didn't need Kevin Durant to score a single point in the fourth quarter. So no Kyrie Irving, no Kevin Durant scoring in the fourth quarter. You have an easy win. But again, I still think it starts with the two of them. It hasn't happened a lot since they've joined the Nets together, where both of them have been playing at the same time, both of them playing at a high level. That's what we've seen the last 3 weeks with this team.
All right, so we mentioned that 12 Nets scored, 9 in double figures. Joe Harris was one of those. He had 11 points, 4 of 5 from the field, including 3 threes, as he spent 19 minutes on the court. Let's hear from Joe with Megan Triplett.
Joe, describe the first half and the hot start that you guys were able to go on.
I just like one of those games where it seemed like the rhythm was there early. We talked about coming out, making sure we had a good start. A lot of times you have tendency, especially when guys are out for an opposing team, to kind of take your guard down a little bit and other guys step up. But we made definitely a point coming out, playing with good energy. Ball was moving. We were able to get a lot of stops, and we had a great start to the game.
42 assists. I know ball movement is one of y'all's specialties on the offensive side, but numbers like that, you don't see that every time.
No, 42 is pretty amazing. I mean, you can get anywhere close to that mark, you're going to win a lot of games.
What has been the biggest imprint that Jacques made since taking over as coach?
The biggest imprint since he's taken over? We're all familiar with JV. For a lot of us, he's been around. I've been with him for 7 years now. Other guys, same amount of time. But, he, even when he's an assistant, he's the type of guy where he just brings a lot of clarity. And then steps in head coaching role, same thing. Everybody, I think there's like a pretty consistent understanding, just game in, game out, across the board, 1 through 15. He'll have a tendency, be watching film. He'll call just out somebody randomly and make sure everybody's engaged, understanding what the coverages are, what the game plan is. I think, it's just a big thing with him where there's just a good line of communication, transparency, and, guys are really responsive to it.
You guys, I think it was the 5th game of the year the last time you guys saw Milwaukee. Obviously, a lot's changed since then. Just, an early thought on them and where you guys maybe improved the most since you last saw them.
I think just, over the course of the season, especially with a lot of new guys, it takes some time just to build continuity, chemistry, solidify some roles. Obviously we've had a lot of changes, and just over the course of the season, guys coming in, getting healthy, new coach. So, tomorrow we'll obviously take a look at Milwaukee. I don't know how much film we'll probably watch on our game earlier in the year because they've changed a little bit as well. But, tomorrow will be like a pretty thorough breakdown with them, and, we'll see where we're at after tomorrow's film and practice.
Everybody on the Nets getting in on the fun tonight. We mentioned the 9 Nets in double figures, including the guys on the bench that combined to score 75 of the Nets' 143 points. Kevin Durant led everybody, 23 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Let's hear from KD.
Kevin, I got 2 quick ones. Just at one point in the first half, you guys were outscoring them 21-0 on turnovers. Just what was working so well for you guys defensively early on?
They play so fast that, if you stay in between your man and the basket, you be in good position to get steals and deflections, and I think we did a good job of that. We didn't let people get behind us on backdoor cuts, and we used high hands when they were passing out top, and, sometimes we made them rush a little bit, get turnovers, and
that's key for us. If we can get out and get on the break, that'll help our offense.
And since we won't see you before then, the last time you guys played Milwaukee was 5 games in the season. You guys had that, still bringing a lot of guys back and whatnot. Just an early thought on that matchup since you last saw them.
It's a championship caliber team that's going to give us a tough test, and we're all looking forward to it.
Kevin, when Jacques calls one of those quick timeouts like he did at the beginning of the game after like a botched defensive possession, what does he say to you guys? Because you guys seem to respond well to those.
Just lock back in. I mean, we understand we made a mistake, but to have your coach come back and everybody on the bench and the coaching staff reiterate what happened, and we can watch it on the tablet and see. It's always beneficial for us. So I love when he does that. I mean, that just keeps us on point, keeps the coaching staff and everybody on point, the arena on point, just knowing that we're trying to win this game, So I like the sense of urgency, and Jock's been doing that since he became a coach, and I think I was about to say he does it. He's been doing it less, but I feel like the last couple of games he's been calling them quick timeouts. So we don't want to have him do that, going forward. We want to try to play through that stuff, and but I appreciate that as a player.
Kevin, why do you think the offense has clicked the way it has for this stretch now the last few weeks?
Making shots. I mean, we've been, it's a make or miss league. We've been generating solid shots all year. And I think they're just starting to fall now. And it's going to come a time where, some of those shots, like, what game was it? A couple games ago, I think in the first half, I want to say Toronto, we struggled shooting the ball a little bit. And we was able to ramp it up on defense, and then we started making shots after that. So, it was about shooting the ball with confidence, being aggressive downhill to make plays for others, and tonight was one of those nights.
Kevin, you're at a career high in field goal percentage, career high at the rim, mid-range on pull-ups. Do you feel like this is the easiest or the best you've been as a shooter or scorer, or at least the most efficient?
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, I never shot this high percentage before. Just thinking the game a little bit different than I was before. I always felt like I could shoot this well, but I think I'm just the quality of shots and the looks that I'm getting and my focus level on my fundamentals is what's keeping me there. Sometimes I shoot the ball and pull it back or fade back. My upper body be fading when I shoot, and it may be short or shoot an off-balance shot. So I'm just trying to stay focused on straight up and down, just using my fundamentals every time I get a good look, and I'm starting to knock them down. So just keep putting that work in between games, and keep visualizing what I want to do out there, and, I'll be fine.
Do you think the time off while you're rehabbing, went into that? Because your percentages have jumped quite a bit as a shooter.
Yeah, I mean, it's just about thinking the game and just staying true to what I do. If I find an area on the court that I like, I try to exploit it. If I find a matchup, I try to exploit it. I just try to play the game, a cerebral game. And I was 1 for 9 coming out in the third quarter. So it's good to go through that type of stuff to see, all right, where can I make adjustments and how can I be better on those shots, and so they can fall into the rim next time. So it's all about making adjustments, checking the film, analyzing in your brain what went on, just replaying stuff back, just always just trying to think the game on a different level than I was before.
The way you guys are playing and the way you've played pretty much all season, you think there's people regretting now maybe you're not playing this weekend?
Yeah, Knicks-Nets would have been a great Christmas Day matchup. That's what you're talking about, right?
Any place having you on the schedule, but yeah, certainly that would.
So a Christmas game, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's probably some people, especially with the way Knicks playing, the way we playing right now. I felt like that would have been a perfect matchup on Christmas. Hopefully we can get that going forward. But, yeah, I probably do have it's responsible for us not playing on Christmas. What went on this summer, but, hey, it is what it is. We play on the 26th. That's close enough.
Steve Kerr joked before the game that he was going to hunt you down and try to convince you to play for Team USA again this summer. Just, A, did that happen? And, B, when can you even make a decision on that? Can you make it now, or do you have to wait to see?
I'm definitely not going to make it now. I love my Team USA family. I always want to represent my country, my city, my block, my friends, my family. I mean, they give me an opportunity to go on that platform in front of the whole world and showcase what my people taught me since I was a kid. So we definitely got to think about it. But I would say it's too early right now. They respect my timeline and where we are in the season, and and we are always in constant communication on, what we want to do going forward. So I had that conversation when it's time, but for right now, I don't know.
Not thinking Team USA, just thinking shot by shot. That's what he was doing tonight. Yeah. I was surprised, 9 of 17 from the field, and he said how he was shooting like 1 of 9 out of the gate. But that 1-3, that bomb he shot, that was the only 3 he had. I thought he had more than that.
I know, and he was talking about how poorly he shot in the third quarter. But remember, he also had 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals. So he's making other contributions. I do find it interesting, the question from Brian Mahoney of the Associated Press, who's covered Kevin Durant at the Olympics and things like that, so they knows each other. The idea that he's asking about playing this weekend, he was referring to Christmas, and Kevin Durant being, brutally honest, saying, yeah, I'm probably to blame with everything that happened this summer. I thought that was pretty funny. And he was asked also about playing for the United States national team this summer at the FIBA World Cup. The one thing about Kevin Durant, he has dedicated a lot of time to the national team. There's a very good chance that they don't win the last Olympics in Japan if Kevin Durant hadn't played. So for me, he's put in his time. If he wants to play, that's great. If he doesn't, all right, that's for the FIBA World Cup. Obviously, the following summer, you have the Olympics. He's won 3 gold medals. For me, Kevin, it's up to him, but he's put in more than enough time. There's a lot of young players in the NBA who are American that should be able to be on the national team, and we should be okay winning the World Cup and also the Olympics.
By the way, they get Christmas Eve and Christmas off. That's not a bad deal.
But it stinks when you got to travel. If you're playing the 26th, that means you're traveling on the 25th.
That's a good point. All right, we got to take another break. When we come back, some final thoughts. Frank, just 2 shopping days till Christmas. I hope you got everything on your list checked off.
Where's that from? Is that your tree at your house with the trains going around?
Yeah.
It's definitely
I always keep a Yes Mike flag around the house just to throw on a choo-choo train.
I won't tell you about the Mike flags I have at home.
Under 143 on Friday against the Bucks.
Yeah, unless we go to triple overtime. When they met on October 26th, the Bucks won the game 110-99. Giannis in that game, 45 points. Remember, he had 17 in the fourth quarter. That was also the game that Steve Nash got ejected. He was upset about calls because it did seem like Giannis was getting away with a lot in that game. But I wrote it down. Kyrie and Kevin Durant were 19 of 44 shooting, 19 of 23 from the free throw line, but 1 of 11 on 3-pointers. Hopefully Kyrie will be available. Hopefully Chris Middleton will be available, because right now it's 2 of the best teams in the NBA.
Could be a battle of the Titans. Hope you'll join us on Yes and the Yes app on Friday night. Again, pregame coverage with Frank and myself beginning at 7 o'clock. Opening tip just after 7:30. Nets win a monster one, 143-113 at home against the Golden State Warriors. Look forward to seeing you again Friday night at 7 o'clock. Take care.